Here's a question for you. How much time did you spend in AI this past week versus how much you actually produced? Because for many agents, those two numbers do not match.
Right. And today we are changing all of that. This is episode 407.
Welcome to Wandering But Not Lost, your online source for finding balance so that you can align, connect, and prosper. And now your hosts, Jen O'Brien and Matt Emerson.
Welcome back to the Wandering But Not Lost podcast. You can find all of our show notes for this episode and access to all the goodies that we're going to be talking about today over at WBNLpodcast.com. Before we get tactical today, let's start with the reset. Here's a question to sit with for a second, or maybe 2 seconds, right? How much of your week right now is intentional versus reactive?
Ooh, good one.
Right? Yeah. Because here's what I've noticed, and I know that Jan, she's been teaching a lot of classes lately, and I know that she's been probably seeing this in a lot of the agents she's been talking to. The agent who gets the most done are not necessarily the agents who actually work the most hours. They're the ones who protect their time with structure.
Absolutely, Matthew. And structure and systems create freedom, period. I say that to all our coaching clients and the students that I'm working with all the time. When you have a system, you stop spending energy figuring out what to do next. You waste so much time when you don't have a system. You spend it actually just doing the system that you have set up.
And there you go. And that's exactly what this episode is all about today. We're going to give you a structure for your AI work. And won't that be a nice thing to have? Because most agents are using AI in a way that used to do like when you were checking your email back in the aughts. You know, you check it all day, you check it every day, you have no system for it, and you're wondering why it feels like it's not working. So you need a system that actually makes sense.
And if you need help with real estate and business systems, we cover all of that and so much more in our foundational training program called Real Estate Sales Builder. Get it over at WBNLcoaching.com. But right now, let's get tactical today.
Yeah. So let me paint a picture of what most agents are actually doing with AI right now. So it's Monday morning, you're getting up, you're going to tackle your week, right? So you open up your chat or whatever, AI platform you might be using because you need a social post. So we'll just start there, right? As we all do, because those sometimes are the hardest thing, the shortest things and the hardest things you can actually get. So you type something vague, you get something generic back. You spend 20 minutes editing that process, and still it doesn't sound anything like what you would actually do yourself.
Now it's Wednesday. Congratulations, you got a listing the other day, and now you got to write a great listing description. So you open up a new chat, but you don't really give it context about your market, your voice, your brand. You really haven't trained your chat to help you. And you get an output that sounds like every other agent's AI.
Right. So we've gone through Monday, you've done the same thing on Wednesday, and now Friday, someone tells you about a cool new prompt that they saw on Instagram. Yeah. So you try that, right? It does, and it doesn't really apply to your business, but that's okay. You spend about 30 minutes or so playing with it anyway, down that rabbit hole that we've all gone down more than one time and wish we wouldn't have. And at the end of the week, how much usable content did you actually produce?
Yeah, very little for probably the amount of time you spent working in the AI trying to figure it all out. And that's the pattern we see with hundreds of agents. They're dabbling. And it's not because they're lazy and not because AI doesn't work well. It's just because nobody gave them the workflow. Nobody gave them a workflow to follow. Right. The agent doesn't have a real structured system to follow.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we built the 3D AI workflow into our AI-ready Agent Essentials guide. And we use it ourselves. That's the whole thing. We have been playing around with AI for such a long time that we wanted to share what our processes and structures that work. And it took us sometimes a little while to get to that point. So that's what we created the guide around. And it works because it's simple enough to actually do every single week.
And in the guide, we're creating a framework that just says, here's an example of something that you can do for 3 days a week that's very focused. You can figure out what works for you, but we find that if we give people an example of a perfect week, if you will, for AI, so this is our framework, 3 days a week with 3 focus blocks. That's it. Monday is content day. Wednesday is outreach day, like reaching out to clients and leads. And Friday is systems day. So we're going to break each one of these down at a high level. Then we're going to have some fun. We're going to walk through one of those blocks together so you can see what it actually looks like in practice, and then you can get the rest of it in our guide.
All right, like Jan just said, Monday is content day. This is your biggest block. So you're going to block out 60 to 90 minutes every Monday. And this is where you actually start doing all of your content creation. You're generating your social media content for the week, your video talking points if you're doing video, and I hope you are doing video, your newsletter if you're doing that, you're going to draft that out, and any listing marketing that you need, all of it in one focused section.
So Mondays is your planned content day that you're going to get all the work done, and then you have to get it executed. But now Wednesday, we're going to block out time, 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and that's outreach day. This is so important. This is follow-up, okay? This is follow-up with clients and past clients and leads. You're drafting client follow-ups, emails, nurture messages to your sphere of influence, to those leads that you met a month ago, check-ins with anybody you need to, any listing-specific communication like changing the prices and so forth. All of that is in your outreach block.
It's awesome. And then Friday, of course, you have to have it's your systems day, right? You have to kind of wrap it up that way with 30 to 45 minutes or, whatever's going to work for you, a little longer, a little shorter, if that's what it is. This is your sharpening the saw time. You review what worked throughout the past week. You update your prompts, very important. As you go along here, we'll talk about that a little bit more. Refresh your AI profile card if your listings or marketing data has changed. That's super critical to the process. And build or improve a system or SOP for your business. What a great idea.
Okay, and the total time commitment in these structured blocks, maybe 2.5 hours, maybe 3 for the whole week, and that's it. So if you do all the blocks on one day, it might work better for you. And maybe if you have a down day, but honestly, scheduling them, the whole point is if you have structured blocks, you can put them where they fit into your schedule for that week. So the point is batch it, don't scatter it, don't just maybe do it. Schedule it and then move it around based on your schedule for the week.
All right, so let's make this real. Let's go into it a little bit farther, and we'll talk about Monday. Let's just use Monday as as our example of what we'll talk through today, because that's your content day, and this is a big one because this is the one where you often get kind of lost in the weeds, and we're going to show you how you can actually be much more focused and get a much better output. So this block of time gives agents the most immediate ROI. So that's why you're working on that, right? You sit down with your coffee, you open up your AI platform, and you have a little plan.
All right, so first thing, you're not starting from scratch every time, and this is key. Yeah. In our guide, okay, in the AI Ready Agent Essential Guide, we teach you how to set up what we call our AI profile card. This is completely why people that are working with us and using this are getting better output, because this is a agent profile card that is going to tell the AI you're working with everything about how you do your business, who you are, what market you serve, what's your tone, what do you want to sound like, what you want the AI to never say, like making you put compliance issues in there and so forth. You load that once into your AI of choice, and everything going forward, as long as you put it in the right spot for whichever AI you're using, the AI has context on how to provide you better content. So that's key. Once you do that, what we're about to walk through is easier. It's seamless, right, Matt?
Right, exactly. So that's the setup. So the guide walks you through every section of the profile card, and then a completed sample is there for you as well. So you can see exactly what a filled in version looks like. And that really is helpful. I know Jan and I have talked about this, that, when you're looking at something that walks you through questions, it's nice to have a prompt of what the possible answers might be to kind of stimulate you and get you going. Exactly. But once that's in place, like Jan said, here's what your Monday is actually going to look like, right? So you have the card loaded, right? So step one, you prompt your AI for 5 social media posts for the week, right? And because your profile card is loaded already into your chat platform or your AI platform, you don't need to explain your market. You don't need to explain your tone every single time you're switching gears a little bit. You say, write 5 social media posts for this week. 2 should feature my listing at 742 Ocean Boulevard. 1 should be a marketing tip. 1 community spotlight, please. Always say please. 1 personal brand post, and that's it. Your AI already knows the rest.
Step 2, draft your video talking points for those videos that you need to get out there on social. So let's say you're filming 2 or 3 short videos this week. You ask your AI for hook options and bullet points for each topic. not maybe full scripts, talking points, because you want to sound like you on camera, not like you're reading from a script.
Right. And step 3, if you have a newsletter going out, draft the sections: personal note, market update, featured listings, local spotlight, home tips. The guide has a prompt template for exactly this. You paste it in, customize the brackets, and you have a first draft in minutes.
All right. And here's the key to all of this. From a compliance standpoint, there's so many things going on right now with AI. We are really coaching and teaching from a place of AI drafts, you review, you decide, you make the final changes. You're the expert, not AI. AI can make mistakes. It's going to help you make things sound better, get more creative, but it drafts, you reviews, you decide. That's the principle. Every piece of content gets your eyes, your edits, your local knowledge layered on it and modified before you actually post it or send it out in any capacity.
Right. And that's your Monday. It's 60 to 90 minutes. That sounds like a pretty good sized block of time. But I'm telling you, if you weren't building all this together, and we're going to talk about in a second why this all works so well and why we put this together, it would take you much, much longer to that, and your output would not be nearly the same. So you have your social posts, your video outlines, and your newsletter draft. That's done for a week. Done.
Exactly. And so some of you are thinking, I already use AI during the week. Why does batching really matter, or time blocking with AI matter?
Exactly. So there's 2 reasons for that. First of all, context switching is expensive. Every time you open AI for a one-off task, you're reestablishing the context, right? So what is my market? What is my tone? What am I trying to accomplish? When you batch, you establish context once and ride the momentum through multiple tasks. It's huge.
Totally, especially if you're in like the same chat or working with it, and you can build on it. Second is consistency, right? Agents who post regularly, who email their sphere regularly, follow up as you really want to, which is what I find people aren't doing what they need to do to follow up. Those are the ones who win the long game. And the number one reason agents are not consistent is they don't have a system. It's simple as that. They rely on motivation or when I get around to it, or how I feel, and that is unreliable.
But the 3-day workflow gives you the system. You block the time, you follow the rhythm, and the output compounds every single week.
And it ties directly into everything else we give you in the AI Ready Agent Essential Guide. Okay, you'll get our R.E.A.L prompt structure, which is going to help every prompt make sense and get great content. That profile card we talked about, which is ultimately the key for amazing solutions and content for everything that you're going to do. We're even going to give you a compliance checklist of things that I think are getting people in trouble out there. We give you 25 starter prompts in all the different areas of your business. All these tools are designed to plug into your weekly workflow, right? So we give you a lot of different we just talked about 3 things you could do. You could figure out what those different what kind of things are in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, however you want it to be for you. And it may not be the same thing every single week, right? The guide is not a collection of random tips. It's really completely a system.
It is.
So, all right. That is what we want to cover today, but we always like to close on our podcast with a couple things. One is the compass check time. This is how it works. If you've been listening, you know our flow here. We're going to talk about one thing to implement. Don't get overwhelmed. One thing to implement this week, and one thing to just stop doing and let go of.
All right. So let's talk about that one thing to implement. Block 60 to 90, 30 to 90. Block some time on Monday on your calendar, the Monday morning, and label it Content Day. Use that time to generate your social media content, your video outlines, and any listing marketing that you need to do for the week. If you don't have an AI profile card set up yet, spend the first 30 minutes on that and you can find that a prompt card in our actual guide, and the guide walks you through it step by step.
Yeah, and you don't need to do all 3 days this week, as we just threw it all out here to you. Just start with Monday, for example. 1 block, 1 focus session. Give it a try so you can see what the results are. And if you have that success, you're going to be more inclined to block 2 more times for yourself. See how it works for you. That alone is going to change how you think about AI in your business. That's what we think anyway.
Yeah. So let's talk about the one thing you need to let go of this week. Let go of the idea that AI is something you figure out on the fly. Because we've already done that for you. That random, whenever I need it approach is why most agents still feel like AI is overhyped. honestly, it's not overhyped. It's just understructured, right?
Honestly, even now, Matt knows, like, I am learning so much. I still use ChatGPT. They're constantly putting new features in. I'm really amazed at Claude. So excited about the things Claude can do that's a little bit different than ChatGPT. And Gemini is even adding more things. So they're all powerful. You don't need to use all of them. Pick one and go with it, especially if you're just getting started. Because here's the deal about this letting go piece. Structure creates freedom. We said it at the top. Give your AI practice a structure, and just start small, like the Monday, one day, one time block, one thing about content, and see where you go with that. All right. So everything that we walk through today, that 3-day workflow example, the profile card, which is the ultimate key to everything. I'm going to tell you, I'm so proud of that profile card because I worked with Claude on it and we came up with the categories. And then I gave Claude, just to give you an idea, I gave Claude an example of a fake person in Jacksonville Beach. Because I said, let's give everybody an example. And when it wrote the example, I was like, I'm inspired to go back and change my setup in AI because I didn't do it as detailed as it. I just think that alone, you guys are going to be blown away with because everyone needs help with, I don't know how to say what it is I do and so forth. That's worth the $49 because that's what this thing costs. Compliance checklist, 25 starter prompts. It's 60 pages of how-to content over 8 chapters, okay? We built this so you can be systematic and have things that work, not just a random idea or two, okay? It really, really, really works, and the link is in our show notes.
That's right. And we built this guide exactly for the agents who's listening to this podcast right now. You know that AI matters, and you've tried it, or maybe you haven't tried it, but you want a system that actually works so you don't waste time, right? So you actually get it right, and you understand the full power of what it's all about. And that's what this guide truly is all about.
And we're doing more. That is just the first phase of this. What's coming beyond that is going to take a little bit longer to create because we have given you a lot of structure and a lot of things that will help you right away. But we're going to go dive deeper into the final version of this complete system that will take all the main systems that you do to run your business. Like if you completely want to be able to do video from A to Z, there's a whole structure that we use that we're going to share with you. That's just one example. And it's going to be that for how you stay in touch with your database, how you use it for content creation, how you do it for social media, static posts, how you do it for video, and all the way down to how you follow up with leads. The entire system, just like how we tie it in and train you, not just like here's a couple random prompts. So we're very excited about it. But next week, we're going to change gears here on the podcast. We're going to go switch over to a WBNL lifestyle episode. We've been talking about AI for 3 straight weeks. So now what we're going to talk about is how do you create digital boundaries and protecting your creative energy? And I think a lot of us have a lot going on. And so we're excited to bring that episode to you next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a fun one. Before we go, though, one more time, the AI Ready Essentials Guide is everything from today's episode and a whole lot more. Like Jan said, it's 60 plus pages and it's just packed with content and prompts. The link is in our show notes. The link is in the description below. So grab your copy and start your Monday content block this next Monday.